Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And welcome back to Influencers Radio. Today we're talking about something that I can almost guarantee affects every single person that is listening and probably not listening to this episode today. So if you are listening, listen closely and let your friends, family, and coworkers and just about anybody know about this episode because it is something that can affect and make a big difference. And we're talking about energy. And when I say that, I'm not talking about energy drinks. I'm talking about real energy, the stuff that makes the economy run. And, of course, you know, I'm in the Texas area, so energy is all over the news, and it's very important to the economy here, but really affects everyone. And so today, my guest, he is known as almost an energy doctor. When I say that, I mean this guy goes in and does exactly what a doctor does to businesses, small businesses. I'm talking about, you know, national restaurants, supermarkets, gas stations, hotels, anyone that uses electricity and gas. He's one that'll go in and look at how they're using it, what they're using it, and help them decide and make the right choice for their situation. And just like a doctor does, he listens to businesses, he diagnoses their situation, and he prescribes what's going to be best for them in the long run and even short run for making choices on their energy, which is not very easy to navigate if you've ever done that before. But now what he's doing is he's moving into helping far more than just the businesses he's been doing over the last several years, which, by the way, he is the only energy broker in this country to be awarded the Distinction of Excellence Award by the Better Business Bureau, not once, but 3 years running. My guest today is Mikhail Skachko. How are you doing, Mikhail, today?
Peachy.
That is beautiful. That's a mouthful. I mean, energy.
I know.
Who isn't affected?
Energy, right?
Yeah, who isn't affected by energy? I mean, we all use electricity. We all use some kind of, you know, whether it's to keep you warm, keep you cool, cook, get you from one, you know, place to another. Energy is very, very important. And a lot of people, well, if they run a small business, they know that it's one of those things that you have to do. It's probably not the most fun thing to do, is to make decisions around what energy providers they are going to use, because they're certainly not all the same and the choices aren't the same. And it can make a big difference in their budget and their business.
Well, definitely, for sure, especially the bottom line. Some businesses, I'll use restaurants for an example. Energy is one of their top three costs. They have food, they have their employee salaries, and then energy. It's one of their top three costs.
And when a lot of times when they make these decisions, and they're getting smarter and understanding, but you know, it's something that a lot of people think even in their homes. Well, let me call the gas company, let me call the electric company and get hooked up. And they ask them, well, you know, how much is it? And they think the price is the price. A lot of them don't realize that there's a whole layer of the ability to negotiate in a lot of different areas that people make big mistakes, because if they're just throwing a dart at the dartboard, or if they're just, you know, taking what is, you know, offered to them, there's probably a very high likelihood that they are overspending on that energy.
Well, you're so right on that, because that's a lot of times that's what happens when either it be a consumer or a business, if they're just starting their business and they're not aware of the regulation of the way that market works, and they are just calling a supplier to hook up their power, and they are not aware that they have the power to negotiate. And that's where we come in as energy as you put it, an energy doctor. That's where we come in, and that's where we help them navigate. That's where we assess the business. We look at a lot of different aspects of how the business operates, what are the on-peak, off-peak hours, because all of those things affect the bottom line when we look for products. So I want to, if I'm talking to you, I want to know what time do you open, what time do you close, what are your, what type of machinery do you have? Do you have coolers? What is your demand? What is your peak demand? So we look at all those things, and based on that, as we look at suppliers and see who will give you the best option. And then once we have it, we pin these guys against each other. I'll go to Direct Energy. I'll tell them, hey, listen, the Hudson is beating your price, or Reliant, and we'll tell them we represent the customer, not the supplier.
Right. That's an important distinction, is that when a customer calls the energy companies to get the best price, the person that's on the other side of that line helping them is not necessarily helping that customer. They're helping themselves. They're trying to get the most out of that. And oftentimes, and one of the big misconceptions people have is, they think they're price shopping. And whoever gives them the lowest price, that's who they're going to choose. But as you point out, there's a lot of variables involved in making those decisions. And oftentimes, the lowest price is actually kind of misleading, and almost it can end up being the most costly choice disguised as the lowest price. How does that work, and how does that happen?
A lot of times it happens by customer working with a direct customer acquisition or direct business-to-business sales reps. These guys, and a lot of times these guys don't even know what they're doing is not ethical. They don't understand the products that they're selling themselves, so they might walk into a business and offer somebody a price that's too good to be true. And I know we say if it's too good to be true, more likely it is too good to be true. But part of us want to be wishful thinkers, and we tend to believe, you know what, my broker is offering me 6.2 cents. This guy's offering me 5.5 cents, which is a lot cheaper than my broker's price. And they trust these door-to-door guys, and they go with them. And then 3 months later, once they get their first invoice and they see that there's additional costs that was not presented during the initial offering, and that's what we help identify, because we have products like that as well, but we disclose those. And we tell the customer, okay, if you're going to have this product, there's an additional tariffs, capacity, transmission, that's passed through to you as well. And this all-in product, it's included. That's why the price looks higher. And this product is not included, but this is what it will be. So if you're comparing apples to apples, you have to compare them, because those products are not only for door-to-door guys, and usually customers that are more on a higher consumer, I would say, that use more power, they become more complex, and they tend to use those products because of their demand, and because they do have high load factor. It's beneficial for them not to be thrown into a bucket, because when you go into all-in product, you kind of get generalized as this is how efficient you are. So those products do suit some customers, but not all. If you own a grocery store or a restaurant, that is not a product for you.
Right, and I think you said something important, that a lot of the times when someone comes in, the door-to-door guys, as you talk about, they come in to talk to you about their energy. You said something important, that it's not that they're unethical, they just may not be informed on what the real story is. They're given these products by their suppliers and told, here's how you sell it, here's what the details are, and they may not understand what's happening. And it really is tough for the average person to understand. But before, when we were talking, before this interview, you really kind of laid it out in a way that made it very easy for me to understand, when you use the analogy of when you go and buy a printer, right? You go and buy a laser printer at the store, that if you're sold that printer based on the lowest price, you may be thinking you're getting the best deal, but then later find out that the ink for that printer is twice as much as the ink for the higher price printer. And I thought that was really brilliant, the way that you laid that out. Can you expand on that, and on how people make that mistake if they just look at that front end price?
Well, a lot of times you see the price. People, when they see the cheaper price, their eyes light up. I own a business. You own a business, and we understand the cost of printers. You can go out and you can get a Brother, and you can pay a little more for that Brother, but you know that the ink is going to be set part of your budget, and you know what it's going to be. Or you can go, and I'm not going to name any other brands, get another printer that's a lot cheaper. As a matter of fact, some of them are under $100 a pop. But then your every cartridge is going to be $40 to $50. That when you have a Brother that's a replacement, and I'm not pushing Brother by all means, the cartridge is $20, and then you have another brand and a replacement is $40. When you add up the cost, at the end of the day, just because it was cheaper doesn't mean that in the long run it's going to be cheaper. And a lot of times it costs a lot more in the long run than it does initially out of the gate.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does make sense. Far more than, when I'm listening to the Energy, people, talk about, your different choices, because it really does get complicated. And I think that's one of the reasons that people go to someone like you, is to help them to negotiate this and make sure that it's understood, this is what's going to be best for me. And I think that's where the analogy where you're kind of looked at as that energy doctor is, because you do listen, you diagnose and prescribe specifically to their need and what's going to provide a solution to their pain, their problem around that. And a lot of folks maybe are misinformed in this industry, that if someone comes to them saying, "Hey, I'm a broker," don't worry, it's free. Use me. It's free. And I think one of the things that you're very transparent about is free is a relative term, that it's actually not free, that the fee is being paid somewhere to them, to you even, and you don't like to describe that as free, but to let them know that is a cost that's built in. It's just something they don't have to pay up front to you to help them. It costs them nothing up front for you to negotiate this with them, but they're either going to pay it to you, the broker, or they're going to pay it to the person on the other side of the phone at the energy company, and you really got to decide who has your best interest in mind, right? So you kind of spell out what those parties are and how they work.
What we do is not free. The door-to-door person doesn't walk door-to-door in 100-degree weather because it's free. Energy suppliers have something that's called a acquisition budget, where they set aside an acquisition budget to pay either a broker, a door-to-door company, telemarketing company, or their internal salespeople a fee for a business brought into the company. So if I come to to a business and I consult them, and they decide to move forward using the USCC Mikhail Skachko, the supplier that they choose will pay us a fee. The customer doesn't have to pay us. That fee is worked into their price. So it doesn't matter if the customer works with a broker, if they work with a door-to-door person, or if they call in a supplier. That person on the other end of the phone is going to get paid the same way that the USCC or Mikhail Skachko gets paid. Whenever someone comes in and says it's free, I don't want to say it's misleading. It is.
Yeah, well, it comes back to them being misinformed. They may say that's the way that you sell this. It's free to the customer, and I think that's an important distinction. And I think, one of the reasons, now, you're considered one of the top energy brokers, 3 years in the running with that Distinction of Excellence Award from the Better Business Bureau, doesn't come by accident. And one of the things that I really loved about your story is that, you don't have any problem talking about the fact that you came from that side of the world, where you came from working for a supplier and selling kind of the package that they had and using the verbiage that they gave you and the story that they told you. But then you started learning what the truth was about how this worked, right?
Yeah, I had a rude awakening. I call it an epiphany. And I did. I came from a door-to-door side. The way I got into the industry was on a door-to-door side. I got recruited at Cleveland, Ohio, and I moved to Texas, actually, to work in the energy. And I worked for a customer acquisition company that sold for one supplier exclusively. And in Texas, in 2006, 2007, we were saving people money. We were selling a fixed product, and we were taking people from 15, 16 cents a kilowatt hour. I don't know if people remember those rates for commercial side, and we were giving them 9, 10 cents, and we were saving them money. Then I was transferred to Chicago, Illinois, and that market is very different. And in Chicago, customer was paying 8.4 cents, and we were supposed to push a product that was a 9, 10, 11 cents at times. And they had something that they put in front of us. They transferred me there in September of 2007. By December, first week of December, I quit because when they placed a presentation in front of us that they called JAMP. It's called Just Another Math Problem. And based on that presentation, consumers' power rates were going to go up to 20 cents in a period of 5 years. Now, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a math major either, but it does. You do not go from 8 cents to 20 cents in a period of 5 years. And we look back, that did not happen. Actually, the power prices dropped. So that's when I first started having doubts. And then I ran into an actual real broker in the field, and he told me what I'm doing was wrong. And by October was a very difficult month for me there. My production dropped by November. I did not believe in the product anymore. I didn't believe in what I was doing. And by December, I was done. I quit. I had to get out of there.
And, I think that speaks a lot to, your integrity, and also to what drove you to do what you do, and drove you to become the person that does win that Distinction of Excellent Award 3 years running, is because you're doing what people are coming to you to do, is helping them with their best interest, keeping their best interest in mind. And I think that's why you have so many successful and happy clients that have worked with you. And so what I want to talk about is how, something happened is you've spent so many years in the commercial side of this, helping businesses, from, like we talked about, hotels, supermarkets, the restaurants, independently owned restaurants, that your clients on the business side start saying, hey, can you do this on my house? Because that's one thing that I think just about every single person in this country hates, is opening up that energy bill every month. Because it's not something that you feel, taste, or anything. It's like, God, it's that bill you hate to pay. And just like on the commercial side, the prices aren't just the prices. There are options. There are variables depending on how much energy you use, and it can be just as deceiving if you choose something based on the advertised price, because it may actually be a more expensive option disguised as the cheapest option. And you have really kind of become a pioneer with what you are about to do on the residential side of this. Talk about what you're about to unroll for the residential folks that use energy, which is everyone.
Oh, this is the exciting part. And you're right. You cannot get away from the power bill. You have to pay it. It's something that we all use. And this was about 18 months ago, a year and a half ago. I've had a few of my clients that, well, can you do this for my home? And the only way that I, at that time, could help someone on their home is if they ran their business out of their home. So I went and I jumped on my phone and I went in the app store and I couldn't find anything. I thought that I would be able to jump in there and find an app or something where I could show them what the offers are in the market. So that's when I had the idea, and it's to create a phone app. Mobile application, mobile.
The thing that everybody uses and their kids spend their money on, right? The apps on your iPhone or your Android, the tools that we use every day.
Correct. And what we did is we wanted to make sure that if we do go this route, that we want to feature the suppliers that do have very strong reputation in the industry that are not going to go away if something happens. So established decades in the industry. And the way that the app works is for iOS, so for Apple and for Droid, so in Google Play, you can. The app is free. You download the app, and you can go two routes. You can create an account immediately, or you can go look at rates. And the way we set it up is to be transparent. Right now, if you go and shop for power, you'll see a price. But unless you open something that's called an electricity facts label or fast facts, you will not know what you're actually going to be paying for power just based on their advertised price. Because every home, every apartment in this country uses a certain amount of power. So every supplier, when they market their rates, they market it based on those buckets. So if you're an apartment and you're using 500 kilowatt hours a month, your price is going to be this. If you're using 1,000, it's going to be this. If you're using 2,000, it's going to be this. But the price is advertised majority of the times is the price for 2,000 kilowatt hours. And the difference between the price from 500 to 2,000 could be 4 to 5 cents.
Yeah, that was really surprising to me. When you kind of told me about that, people are buying something based on a number that has absolutely no relationship to what they're actually going to be getting, right? It's almost, it's like if you bought, say, hey, I'm buying a car. Cars cost, $3,000 or whatever, $5,000, $20,000. Without knowing that, wait, there's a lot of different cars and a lot of different ones that use gas different ways and whatever. So they're buying something off of advertised price that isn't a fixed cost across the board, right?
Well, imagine you went to buy a cell phone and the advertised price for the cell phone was $99. Let's say iPhone 6, $99 for an iPhone 6. So, and you go and you buy that iPhone 6, but you didn't look into the plan. You could not choose your plan, which it was there. You were just excited about the price, and then you find out that your plan is $200 a month. So that's another analogy to look at it. And these suppliers do have electricity facts label that outlines those buckets. And you as a consumer, it's your responsibility to look at that. But how many of us actually look at those things?
Yeah, those are documents I think it falls in the category of, 10 to 100 page documents that people write that no one reads, right?
Exactly. So what we did with the app, we have made it transparent. So when you download it and you type in your zip code and you look at the power option for you, you have the buckets outlined. You will have the 500 kilowatt hour bucket. You will have the 1,000 kilowatt bucket. You will have 2,000 kilowatt bucket. If there is a monthly service charge, you will have it because certain suppliers say it's zero monthly customer service charge. But if you use under a certain amount of power, it will be anywhere from $5 to $20. And that comes up to if your monthly service charge is $10, that's $120 a year. That's just boom, where you could have got a price that was a fraction of a penny higher with a zero monthly service charge, and you would have saved $110 a year by not paying the customer service charge. So we've made it very transparent, and we've made it our mission statement to tell suppliers. So when you give us these plans, they have to be exactly what you say they are. You have to put your best foot forward, and then the consumer is the one that chooses who they want to go with. So these suppliers are actually forced to compete on the same level, not just a 2,000 kilowatt hour bucket, but they're forced to compete on the same level. And at the end of the day, the consumer wins.
Yeah, well, I think that's, really what makes you an influencer with this is because, putting this at people's fingertips, not just, let me do a price check, but let me do a check on what's going to be best for my situation, the size of my home and all of that. And you put in those things that are typically really hidden and tucked away when people just do price checks. So the app, is any cost to use the app?
No, it's free to download. It will be available, I believe, Thanksgiving We do have an early bird sign-up list right now. If you go to easypowerapp.net, you can upload your name and email, and we will notify you as soon as the app is live in the App Store or Google Play, so you can download it for free. There's no cost, and we do have a promotion that we're running right now for people that do sign up for an early bird. It's $1,200 or 1 year free power. So an average consumer's in the United States power bill is about $100 a month. So we said if we do 12 months of power, that equals to about $1,200. So if you sign up on the early bird list right now, you'll get entered into a contest to win 1 year of free power.
All right, and let them know that URL one more time, and we'll put it on our show post as well.
It's easypowerapp.net.
easypowerapp.net. And, so that's fantastic. No hidden fees, nothing like that. It's just going to give them pure information on real information to make the right choice that is based on information and variables that you use with your the big commercial companies that you've been doing for so long, to be able to get that kind of knowledge and experience, at your fingertips on your iPhone or your Android is just a tremendous opportunity for a lot of folks.
Well, definitely. It's actually patent pending. So because there is nothing out there, we want to make sure that we protect the application and the process that we're using. Because being a pioneer in the industry is not easy, as I found out already. So we, at the end of the day, we looked at the way we're doing on the commercial side, and then a lot of times when you see news reports, when you see it's because of the consumer side, because the consumers are not protected. Commercial side, business owners have attorneys. The majority of times they have brokers. They do look out for their interests, and the ones that don't are the ones that end up paying more than they should. On the consumer side, the residential customers, they don't have attorneys. They don't have brokers that give them advice. And that's when you see people being ripped off, being lied to, being misled, being robbed by a door-to-door person, being beat up by a door-to-door person. There's so many just bad publicity on the consumer side. So we wanted to bring a platform to residential customers that's free, easy to use, transparent, because if supplier gives us a product that we don't agree with, we're going to kick it back. We're going to say, listen, we're not going to feature this on our app because it's missing this or this component. We're not going to advertise a $2,000 kilowatt hour price. We're going to advertise all three. We want our consumers to be informed.
That's fantastic. Mikhail, I've got to thank you for coming on to Influencers Radio today. I know you're a very busy man, running your company, the U.S. Energy Consultants, and working with these businesses. And I think what you're doing for the residential side is just tremendous. So I'm looking forward to downloading your app and getting the real story on this. So thank you very much for coming on to Influencers Radio today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. Fantastic. There you have it. Check out this app. Costs absolutely nothing to download and check the prices. And it's something that you may be surprised at what you are currently paying and what the options are out there. So definitely check that out for sure. So until next time on Influencers Radio, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/influencersradio.